everyone, this is Pranshi Verma. Welcome to the session TCS Technical Interview Question and Answer for your upcoming interview in TCS company. And guys, they are very important for any campus interview, phone interview, and very important for your all technical aspect. Okay guys, so now firstly I'm talking about campus interview. Okay, so campus interview in TCS company. This interview usually takes 45 minutes to an hour and may have one or two interviewers. Okay, one interviewers may focus on your communication skills, self-management skills, and background by asking behavioral questions. Okay, the other will focus on your technical capabilities. Okay, it's clear? Now I'm talking about the phone interview by a TCS company. So if TCS not coming to your school this fail and you have probably submitted your resume online, you look great on paper and they would like to have an employment discussion with candidate, they will set up a mutually convenient date and time for your phone interview. Your interviewer will access your communication skills, self-management skills and backgrounds by asking behavioral questions. She may also access your technical ability. If the phone interviewer goes well, you will be asked to join us for in-person interview. Okay guys, so now let's begin the session regarding TCS Technical Interview Question and Answer, and it's included our latest and frequently asked question in TCS NQT and TCS Ninja. Okay, so this is very important. Now let's begin the session, and first question is, what is your strongest programming language? After the question, tell me about yourself. The question is arise, what is your strongest programming language by most of the interviewers. Okay, so here you just point to remember, before interview you should decide your favorite programming language and to be prepared based on that questions. Okay guys, means आपको किसी पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज में इंटरेस्ट है, आपने किसी पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज पर काम किया है, तो आप कोशिश कीजिए इंटरव्यूअर को वही लैंग्वेज आप बताएं कि फॉर एग्जांपल आपकी सी स्ट्रांग है या फिर जावा स्ट्रांग है या फिर एनी अदर लैंग्वेज में आप इंटरेस्टेड है, तो आप उसी को अच्छे से प्रिपेयर करें. मे बी आपको उसी से ही क्वेश्चन आपके इंटरव्यू में पूछे जाएं. ओके गाइज, so I hope it's clear. What is your strongest programming language? It's up to you. Okay, next question. Difference between C and Java. So guys, this is very important question, frequently asked question. Firstly, अगर हम difference की बात करें C language and Java language में, so Java is object oriented while C is procedural based language. Okay. Next difference is Java is an interpreted language while C is a compiled language. Okay, Java interpreted the program and C is compiled your program. Okay, next difference is C is a low level language while Java is a high level language. Okay, next one, C uses the top down approaches while Java uses the bottom up approaches to execute a particular code. Next one, pointer go back stays in Java while C requires explicit handling of pointers. Okay, next one, the behind the scenes memory management with Java and the user based memory management in C. Okay, next one, Java supports method overloading while C does not support overloading at all, because method overloading is a high level language feature. Okay. Next difference, unlike C language, Java does not support preprocessors and does not really them. Okay. Next one, the standard input and output functions, C uses the printf and scanf functions as it standard input and output, while Java uses the system.out, println and system.in.read functions. Okay. Next difference is exception handling in Java and the errors and crashes in C. Okay, so exception handling is a feature of Java, but C does not support exception handling. Okay guys, now next question, In header files, whether functions are declared or defined. Answer is functions are declared within header file. That function prototypes exist in a header file, not function bodies. Okay, and they are defined in library live. Okay. Next question. What are the different storage classes in C? So there are 4 types of storage classes in C, जो आप फर्स्ट ईयर में ही पढ़ लेते हैं, and they are first one external storage class, second one register storage class, third auto storage class, and fourth one is static storage class. Okay guys, so this is very important concept, kindly clear it. And अगर आप चाहते हैं C स्टोरेज क्लासेस पर डिटेल वीडियो तो प्लीज मुझे कमेंट करके बताइएगा. नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. व्हाट डज स्टैटिक वेरिएबल मीन? आंसर इज स्टैटिक इज एन एक्सेस क्वालिफायर इफ ए वेरिएबल इज डिक्लेयर्ड एज स्टैटिक इनसाइड ए फंक्शन. ओके, द स्कोप इज लिमिटेड टू द फंक्शन बट इट विल एग्जिस्ट फॉर द लाइफ टाइम ऑफ द प्रोग्राम. ओके, values will be persisted between successive calls to a function. Okay, next question. How do you print an address? So answer is very simple. Use %p in printf to print the address. Guys, जिस तरह से आप %t यूज करते हैं इंटीजर वैल्यू प्रिंट करने के लिए, उसी तरह से आप एड्रेस प्रिंट करने के लिए यूज करते हैं %p. Okay, next question. What are macros? What are its advantages and disadvantages? Macros and preprocessor is very important concept and topic in your C language. So kindly clear those topics. And now macros are preprocessor directives which will be replaced at compile time. Okay. The disadvantages with macros is that they just replace the code. They are not function calls. Similarly, the advantage is they can reduce time for replacing the same values. Okay. Next question. Difference between pass-wide reference and pass-wide value. And guys, ये आपको विद एग्जाम्पल अच्छे से ये कंसेप्ट क्लियर होना चाहिए आपके किसी भी इंटरव्यू पर्पस के लिए, बिकॉज बहुत ज़्यादा ये क्वेश्चन इंटरव्यूअर की तरफ से आता है. ओके, सो pass-wide value just passes the value from caller to calling functions. So the called function cannot modify the values in the caller function. Okay, but in the concept of pass-wide reference will pass the address to the caller function instead of value. If called function requires to modify any value, it can directly modify. Okay. Next question. What is an object? Object is a software bundle of variables and related methods. And objects have state and behavior also. Okay. Next question. What is a class? So class is a user defined data type in C++ and Java. It can be created to solve a particular kind of problem. After creation, the user need not know the specifies of the working of a class. Okay. Next question. What is the difference between class and structure? This is very important question. So structure, initially in C, a structure was used to bundle different type of data types together to perform a particular functionality. Okay, ये तो आप starting से पढ़ते आ रहे हैं. But in C++ extended the structure to contain functions also. Okay, and the major differences is that all declaration inside a structure are by default public. Okay, now class is a successor of a structure. By default, all the members inside the class are private. Okay. Next question. What is pointer? Here, spelling mistake. So pointer is a variable in a program is something with a name, the value of which can vary. Okay. According to you, the way the compile and linker handles this is that it assigns a specific block of memory within the computer to hold the value of that particular variable. Okay. Next question. What is the difference between null and void pointer? Answer is a null pointer has the value 0 and void pointer is a generic pointer introduced by ANSI. Okay. Generic pointer can hold the address of any data type, but a null pointer has the value 0. Okay. Next question. What is function overloading? This is a very important question. Function overloading and method overloading is very important concept and topic for your interview. So function overloading is a feature of C++ that allows us to create multiple functions with the same name, so long as they have different parameters. For example, consider the following function: int add, here int nx and int y. So kindly focus on this line. In the function int add, nx and ny, they both are parameter, but they both are different. Okay, because here nx and here ny, and in the program written nx plus ny. This is the very small example code for function overloading. Okay, it's just for explanation. Next question. What is the function overloading and operator overloading? This is also very important. So function overloading in C++ enables several functions of the same name to be defined, as long as these functions have different set of parameters, at least as far as their types are concerned. This capability is called function overloading. When an overloaded function is called, the C++ compiler selects the proper function by examining the number, types and order of the arguments in the call. Function overloading is commonly used to create several functions of the same name that perform similar tasks but no different data types. Okay, for example, अगर आपने यहाँ function overloading पर focus किया है तो int and int यहाँ पर दोनों data type है and they both are same. Okay, so in the function overloading, parameter must be different but data type should be same. Okay, so when an overloaded function is called, the C++ compiler select the proper function by examining the number, types and order of the arguments in the call. Function overloading is commonly used to create several functions of the same name that perform similar tasks but no different data types. Okay, now operator overloading concept. Operator overloading allows existing C++ operators to be redefined so that they work on object of user-defined classes. Overloaded operators are syntactic sugar for equivalent function calls. They form a pleasant facade that doesn't add anything fundamental to the language. Okay, but they can improve understability and reduce maintenance costs. Okay, now next question. What is friend function? A friend function for a class is used in object-oriented programming, means in Java and in C and in C++, to allow access to public, private or protected data in the class from the outside. Okay, normally a function that is not a member of a class cannot access such information. Neither can be external class. Occasionally such access will be advantageous for the programmer. Under these circumstances, the function or external class can be declared as a friend of the class using the friend keyword. Okay, so the keyword for friend function is friend keyword, F-R-I-E-N-D. Okay, next question. What do you mean by inline function? This is also very important question. So the idea behind inline functions is to insert the code of a called function at the point where the function is called. If done carefully, this can improve the application's performance in exchange for increased compile time and possibly, but not always, an increase in the size of the generated binary executables. Okay, next question. Tell me something about abstract class. Abstraction is a very important feature in Java. So an abstract class is a class which does not fully represent an object. Instead, it represents a broad range of different classes of objects. However, this representation extends only to the features that those classes of objects have in common. Thus, an abstract class provides only a partial description of its object. Okay, so focus on last line. An abstract class provides only a partial description of its object. Okay. Next question. What is the difference between realloc function and free function? Okay. The free subroutine frees a block of memory previously allocated by the malloc subroutine. Undefined results occur if the pointer parameter is not a valid pointer. If the pointer parameter is a null value, no action will occur. The realloc subroutine changes the size of the block of memory pointed to by the pointer parameter to the number of bytes specified by the size parameter and returns a new pointer to the block. The pointer specified by the pointer parameter must have been created with the malloc, calloc or realloc subroutines and not been deallocated with the free or realloc subroutines. Okay. Undefined results occur if the pointer parameter is not a valid pointer. Next question. What is the difference between an array and a list? Answer is, firstly I am talking about array. So array is a collection of homogeneous elements, means similar type of elements. List of collection of heterogeneous elements. And at the other hand, list is a collection of heterogeneous elements. For array, memory allocated is static and continuous. But at the other hand, for list, memory allocated is dynamic and random in the nature. Okay. And array, user need not have to keep in track of next memory allocation. But in list, user has to keep in track of next location where memory is allocated. Okay. Array uses direct access of stored members, but at the other hand, list uses sequential access for members. Okay. Next question. What are the difference between structures and array? So answer is, array is a group of homogeneous, means similar types of data types, but a structure can be group of different types of data types according to user. Okay. Next question. What is data structure? So now data structures begin. Data structure is a way of organizing data that considers not only the items stored but also their relationship to each other. Okay. Advanced knowledge about the relationship between data items allows designing of efficient algorithms for the manipulation of डेटा. ओके गाइस, आप फाइनल ईयर में एग्जाम देते हैं टीसीएस का एंड टीसीएस का इंटरव्यू फेस करते हैं, तो उस वक्त जो कंसेप्ट आपको क्लियर है सेकेंड ईयर से, थर्ड ईयर से, फर्स्ट ईयर से, तो आप कोशिश कीजिए उसको मेमोराइज करने की, इंस्टीड ऑफ आप उसकी जगह न्यू कंसेप्ट, न्यू डेफिनेशन लर्न करते हैं. नो, आपके जो कंसेप्ट क्लियर है आप उसको ही अच्छे से मेमोराइज कीजिए अपने माइंड में एंड उसी पर वर्क कीजिए एंड आगे न्यू कंसेप्ट सीखिए, बट जो चीज़ें आती हैं उसको उसी डेफिनेशन में आप लर्न कर लीजिए. जो डेफिनेशन आपने सेकेंड ईयर में डेटा स्ट्रक्चर की लर्न की थी वही डेफिनेशन आप अपने इंटरव्यू में बता सकते हैं. ओके, वो गलत नहीं है. आप लास्ट मोमेंट पे आके कोशिश करेंगे ऑल द थिंग्स आपको फिर से एक न्यू वे में प्रिपेयर करनी है, तो वो पॉसिबल नहीं हो पाता है. आप न्यू चीज़ें लैक कर देते हैं पुरानी चीज़ों की वजह से. ओके, सो नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Can you list out the areas in which data structure are applied extensively? Okay, so this is very important question. Applications of data structure. First one, compiler design. Data structure is widely used in compiler design. Next one, operating system. So data structure is used in operating system. Data structure used in database management system. Data structure is used in statistical analysis package and numerical analysis also. In graphics, data structure is widely used, and artificial intelligence. Yes, data structure used in artificial intelligence and simulation is also a application of data structure. Okay guys, so kindly learn it. This is very important question. Next question. What are the advantages of inheritance? Answer is, it permits code reusability. Okay, जहाँ ये word आ जाता है reusability means inheritance. Okay guys, reusability saves time in program development. It encourages the reuse of proven and debugged high quality software. Okay guys, but for example क्लास A में आपने कुछ डिटेल अपने कोड की, अपने सॉफ्टवेयर की असाइन की है, उस डिटेल को आप क्लास B में इनहेरिट करते हैं फ्रॉम क्लास A. इसको हम बोलते हैं इनहेरिटेंस, एज यू नो. सो इस तरह से क्या होता है, आपका टाइम बचता है, आपका जो सॉफ्टवेयर है उसकी क्वालिटी हाई हो जाती है, डीबगिंग इजी हो जाता है आपके लिए. ओके, सो इनहेरिटेंस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट इन जावा. सो गाइस, it encourages the reuse of proven and debugged high quality software, thus reducing problem after a system becomes functional. Okay guys, and different types of inheritance are available: multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and many more. Okay, next question: what are the two integrity rules used in DBMS? Now question are begin from DBMS, database management system. So the two types of integrity rules are referential integrity rules and entity integrity rules. Okay, two integrity rules are available in DBMS. First one, referential integrity rules, and second one, entity integrity rules. So now referential integrity rules dictate that a database does not contain orphan foreign keys values. This means that a primary key value can't be modified if the value is used as a foreign key in a child table in your database. Okay, entity integrity dictates that the primary key value cannot be null. Okay guys, next question: tell something about deadlock and how can we prevent deadlock. Now this question is from your operating system. Okay, and this is conceptual based question. Kindly focus on it. आप जितना चाहे डिटेल में इसका आंसर दे सकते हैं, बट मेन कंसेप्ट आपको क्लियर होगा तभी आप उसको डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन कर पाएंगे. ओके, सो नाउ स्टार्ट करते हैं इसका आंसर. In an operating system, a deadlock is a situation which occurs when a process enters a waiting state because a resource requested by it is being held by another waiting process. Okay, which turns is waiting for another resources. Okay, if a process is unable to change its state indefinitely because the resources requested by it are being used by other waiting process, then the system is said to be in a deadlock. Okay, now basic concept in deadlock. First one, mutual exclusion. What is mutual exclusion? At least one resources must be non-shareable. Only one process can use the resources at any given instant of time. This is the concept of mutual exclusion. Next, hold and wait of resource holding. In this, a process is currently holding at least one resources and requesting additional resources which are being held by other processes. Okay, and next concept is no preemption. The operating system must not deallocate resources once they have been allocated. They must be released by the holding process voluntarily. Okay guys, next concept is circular wait. Okay, what is circular wait? And a process must be waiting for a resource which is being held by another process, which is turned in waiting for the first process to release the resource. In general, there is a set of waiting process P is equal to P1, P2, P3 and so on up to Pn, such that P1 is waiting for a resource is held by P2, but P2 is waiting for a resource is held by P3 and so on till Pn is waiting for a resource is held by P1, P2, P3 and so on. Okay guys, so in the deadlock, mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption and circular wait. They are very important concept in deadlock. Kindly focus on it and clear this topic for your any interview purposes in computer science and engineering branch and IT branch also. So the prevention of deadlock is possible by ensuring that at least one of the four conditions cannot hold. So guys, they are the conditions for deadlock. Okay, and the prevention of deadlock is possible by ensuring that at least one of the four conditions can't hold. Okay guys, now next question: What is doubly linked list? Answer is, a doubly linked list is a linked list data structure that consists of a set of sequentially linked records called nodes. Each node contains two fields called links and that are references to the previous and to the next node in the sequence of nodes. The beginning and ending nodes, previous and next links respectively. Okay, so point to some kind of terminator, typically a sentinel node or null, to facilitate traversal of the list. If there is only one sentinel node, then the list is circularly linked via the sentinel node. It cannot be conceptualized as two singly linked lists formed from the same data items but in opposite sequential orders. Okay. Next question. What is data abstraction? What are the three labels of data abstraction with example, and it's from DVMS, not to be और जावा लैंग्वेज. एब्स्ट्रैक्शन जब आप सुने तो वहां पर आप चेक कर लें कि इंटरव्यूअर आपसे जावा एब्स्ट्रैक्शन की बात कर रहे हैं या DVMS से डेटा एब्स्ट्रैक्शन की बात कर रहे हैं. ओके, सो डेटा एब्स्ट्रैक्शन इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ रिकॉग्नाइजिंग एंड फोकसिंग ऑन इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ ए सिचुएशन और ऑब्जेक्ट एंड लिविंग filtering out the unwanted characteristics of that situation or objects in database management system. Okay, now let's take a person as example and see how that person is abstracted in various situations. Okay, a doctor sees abstracts a person as patient. The doctor is interested in name, height, weight, age, blood group, previous or existing disease, etc. of a function. Okay, this is a abstract view. Okay, an employee sees abstracts a person is employee. The employer is interested in name, age, health, degree of study, work experience, etc. of a person. So it's all about abstracts. Okay, abstraction is the basis for software development. It's through abstraction we define the essential aspects of a system. The process of identifying the abstraction for a given system is called as modeling or object modeling. Okay, and three labels of data abstraction are physical label, logical label and view label respectively. What is physical label? Physical label explain how the data is stored physically and where it's stored in database. Okay, what is logical label? Logical label defines what information or data is stored in the database. For example, database administrator. Okay, now view label. View label defines end users work on view label. If any amendment is made, it can be saved by other name. Okay, next question. What is command line argument? Answer is, and this is very important question, getting the arguments from command prompt in C is known as command line argument. Okay, in C, main function has three arguments and they are argument counter, second one argument vector and third one environment vector. Okay, next question. Advantages of a macro over a function. Answer is, macro gets to see the compilation environment so it can expand hash defines. It's expanded by the preprocessor. Okay, and hash, this one is preprocessor. Okay, next question. What are the different storage classes in C? So they are auto, register, static and extern. Okay guys, this is very important question. Next question. Which header file should you include if you are to develop a function which can accept variable number of argument? Answer is stdarg start.h. Okay guys, next question. What is cache memory? Cache memory is used by the central processing unit by a computer to reduce the average time to access memory. The cache is a smaller, faster memory and which stores copies of the data from the most frequently used main memory locations. As long as most memory accesses are cached memory locations, okay, the average latency of memory accesses will be closer to the cache latency that to the latency of main memory. Okay, Cache memory is very important concept and very important topic for any interview. Next question. What is debugger? A debugger or debugging tool is a computer program that is used to test and debug other programs. Okay. Next question. Const char pointer p and char const pointer p. What is the difference between the above two? Guys, focus on it. Trust me, it's very important and very frequently asked question. Firstly, we will discuss const char pointer p. It's pointer to a constant char, means data type char. P isn't modifiable but the pointer is. Okay, here P is not modifiable but pointer is modifiable. Okay, now char const pointer p, also pointer to a constant char. However, if you had something like char pointer const p, this declares p to be a constant pointer to an char data type. Here char p is modifiable but the pointer is not. Okay, don't be confused in this, and this is very important question. Next question. What is memory alignment? Answer is data structure alignment is the way data is arranged and accessed in computer memory. It consists of two separate but related issues, and they are data alignment in data structure padding. Okay. Next question. Explain the difference between operator new and the new operator. Okay. They both are different, guys. Kindly focus on it. So the answer is difference between the two is that operator new just allocates raw memory, nothing else. But the new operator starts by using operator new to allocate memory. But then it invokes the constructor for the right type of object. So the result is a real life object created in that memory if that object contains any other objects, either embedded or as base classes. Those constructors as invoked as well. Okay. Next question. Difference between delete and delete followed by brackets. Okay. So the keyword delete is used to destroy the single variable memory created dynamically, which is pointed by single pointer variables. For example, int pointer r is equal to new of int. Here the memory pointer by r can be deleted by delete r. Okay, I hope it's clear. Next, delete followed by bracket is used to destroy array of memory pointer by single pointer variable. Okay, and as you know, this bracket is used for defining an array variables. Okay, so for example, int pointer r is equal to new in the bracket int of array of 10. Okay, this is the size of array. So here the memory pointed by r can be deleted by delete array of r. Okay, I hope it's clear. Next question. What is conversion constructor? Answer is a conversion constructor is a single parameter constructor that is declared without the function specifier explicit. The compilers uses conversions constructors to convert object from the type of the first parameter to the type of the conversion constructors class. To define implicit conversions, C++ uses conversion constructors that accept a single parameter and initialize an object to be a copy of that particular parameter. Okay. Next question. What is a spanning tree from your data structure? Answer is a spanning tree is a tree associated with a network. All the nodes of the graph appear on the tree once. A minimum spanning tree is a spanning tree organized so that the total edge weight between nodes is minimized. Okay. Next question. Why should we use data warehousing and how can you extract data for analysis with example? Okay guys, data warehousing and how can you extract data from data warehouse for analyzing? Explain with example. This is very important question from DWDM, data warehousing and data mining. Answer is If you want to get information on all the techniques of designing, maintaining, building and retrieving data, data warehousing is the ideal method. Okay, a data warehousing is premeditated and generated for supporting the decision making process within an organization. Okay, so here are some of the benefits of a data warehouse. First one, with data warehousing, you can provide a common data model for different interest areas regardless of data source. In this way, it becomes easier to report and analyze information. Next benefit of data warehouses, many inconsistencies are identified and resolved before loading of information in data warehousing. This makes the reporting and analyzing process simpler. Okay. Next one, the best part of data warehousing is that the information is under the control of users, so that in case the system gets paused over time, information can be easily and safely stored for longer time period. Okay. Next benefit of data warehouses, because of being different from operational systems, a data warehouse helps in retrieving data without slowing down the operational system. Okay. Next one, data warehousing enhances the value of operational business applications and customer relationship management system. Okay. And next functionality of data warehouses, data warehouse also leads to proper functioning of support system applications like trend reports, exception reports, and the actual performance analyzing reports. Okay. And data mining is a powerful new technology to extract data for analysis. Okay guys, so this is enough explanation regarding data warehouse with benefits. Okay. Next question, explain recursive function and what is the data structure used to perform recursion. Answer is, what is recursion? As you know, C में हमने पढ़ा है and शायद आपने 11th 12th में भी कंप्यूटर अगर आपके पास सब्जेक्ट एज ए सब्जेक्ट होगा तो आपने पढ़ा होगा. A recursive function is a function which calls itself. Okay. The speed of a recursive program is slower because of stack overheads. A recursive function must have recursive conditions, terminating conditions, and recursive expressions. Okay. Now, stack data structure, because of its LIFO, means LIFO concept is last in first out. Property it remembers, it's called so knows whom to return when the function has to return. Recursive makes use of system stack for storing the return addresses of the function's calls. Every recursive function has its equivalent iterative, means non-recursive function. Even when such equivalent iterative procedures are written, explicit stack is to be used. Okay guys, next question. Difference between compiler and interpreter. This is very important and pretty simple question. So an interpreter reads one instruction at a time and carries out the actions implied by that instructions. Okay, and it does not perform any translation. But a compiler translates the entire instruction once. Okay guys. Next question. What is the scope of a variable? So a scope refers to the visibility of a variables. It's very useful to be able to limit a variable's scope to a single function. Okay. So in the languages, two types of scope are available: local scope of variable and global scope of a variable. Okay guys, next question. What is an interrupt? Answer is, interrupt is an asynchronous signal informing a program that an event has occurred. When a program receives an interrupt signal, it takes a specified action. Next question. What is user defined exception in Java? Answer is, the keyword used in Java application are try, catch and finally. Okay. In Java exception we are using three keywords and they are try, catch and finally for exception handling. Okay. And are used in implementing user used defined exceptions. Okay. This exception class inherits all the methods from throwable class. Okay. Next question. What is Java applet? Answer is, applet is a Java program that can be embedded into HTML page Java applets run on the Java enables web browsers such as Mozilla and Internet Explorer. Applet is designed to run remotely on the client browsers, so there are some restrictions on it. Applet can't access system resources on the local computers. And applets are used to make the website more dynamic and entertaining. Okay, and applet files are saved with .applet extension. Okay, next question. What do you know about the garbage collector? Answer is, garbage collection is the systematic recovery of pooled computer storage that is being used by a program when that program no longer needs the storage. This frees the storage for use by other programs or processes within a program. It also ensures that a program using increasing amounts of pooled storage does not reach its quota, in which case it may no longer to able to be functioning in a program, in a system. Okay, garbage collection is an automatic memory management feature in many modern programming languages such as Java and language in the .NET framework from Microsoft. Languages that uses garbage collections are often interpreted or run within a virtual machine like the JVM, Java Virtual Machine. In each case, the environment that runs the code is also responsible for garbage collection. Okay,